Oh, what do you have on your nifty tables?
We have car stuff. It's car day. It's actually car 2 or 3 days, depending. But
Car week.
so the car, it's all started with the car making a funny sound. When I accelerated, I noticed a little clunk. And through further investigation at the shop, turned out it's a motor mount. In fact, all 3 of the motor mounts, well, 2 motor mounts and a transmission mount, are shot. That, and I have low rear brake pads. And for that, the shop wants over $2,000 to fix. And so we started looking at everything else that probably ought to be done, and that came out to well over $4,000.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm not doing that. So we're going to do it ourselves. Went to the dealer and got motor mounts. New motor mounts we're replacing, 2 of them, 1 on each side. And transmission mount. And right there is about $110 or so of materials. And over here we got some brake pads, rear brake pads, Posi Quiet, ceramic. And right there is another 40. So you add that up and you're at 180, well under the 2,000.
Yeah.
And so I figured, well, as long as we're going to get started working on this, we'll just keep going. So we're going to do air filter, that's easy. Spark plugs. Check out these spark plugs. 4 little nozzle connector electrode thingies. These are Bosch Plus 4s. And this car, the ML430, is an 8-cylinder, and it requires 2 of these per cylinder. So that's 16 spark plugs. I've never worked on a car with 16 spark plugs before. And the dielectric grease and anti-seize compound. But wait, there's more. We're going to do the transmission fluid. On a Mercedes, it has a sealed transmission, which means you're never supposed to open it, which is nonsense. You really should change it. So we got a new gasket from the dealer and a new transmission filter from the dealer. And because it's sealed, it didn't come with a dipstick, so we had to purchase a new dipstick. Okay, and since we're under there, I was reading online that these little electrical connectors that go on the front of the transmission sometimes will go haywire. So that's a $5–10 part. Figured, well, as long as we're down there, let's just replace it. These little caps secure the top of the filler tube of the transmission, and they're meant to be one-time use. So I got a bag full of them. Because apparently if you own a Mercedes, you're not supposed to do any work on it yourself, which is
Dun dun dun.
not our way of doing things. So while we're digging around, we figured we'd also do the front and rear differentials. So Gigi went to the dealership and picked up some new drain plug gaskets for the differentials, and we're going to use Mobil 1 synthetic for that. Here's the fluid for the transfer case. So we're going to replace the fluid in the transfer case as well. Drain it out. I'm sure it's never been done. Here's the transmission fluid, new, it's for imports. We got brake fluid because we figured, you know what, as long as we're down there screwing around with the brakes, let's bleed the entire brake line system. So we're going to replace the fluid from the brakes as well. And then as long as we're doing all this flushing, we figured, well, let's flush the coolant system as well. So we're going to do a complete coolant system flush.